So welcome to the FWA review. We're at Wembley. It's just ahead of the Spurs-Watford game, actually. And with me, I've got long-standing FWA member and the Daily Mirror football reporter, Mike Walters. Takes a particular interest in Watford. You've been covering them for a few years, haven't you?
I've seen them play a few times, yes.
Now, we're at Wembley. Obviously, one place to start. Wembley for sale. Mike, what do you make of that?
A good deal for English football. I don't really see a downside to it. I remember about 20 years ago being at 36,000 feet on the way to some Chelsea away trip in Europe, and Ken Bates, who was the architect in many ways of the rebuilding of Wembley Stadium, dispensing largesse down the back of the plane, telling us about his grand designs for Wembley and telling us about the arch he planned. And to be fair, it was as advertised in the brochure, but it cost £750 million, of which certainly at least £120 million came out of the public purse. So it's not quite the FA's sole property, I would venture to suggest. And if Shahid Khan is offering roughly £800 million in round figures, the FA's money back, I have to say it looks like a pretty good deal at face value.
The key thing, I think, for everyone is that money is genuinely invested in grassroots football, isn't it?
Well, it has to be. Anybody who's got their feet wet on a muddy touchline since Wembley Stadium was rebuilt, would welcome some serious investment in grassroots, because there are too many park pitches now which are unfit for purpose.
Yeah.
Whether they be covered in dog's mess or littered with broken glass, or they're just full of potholes, or in this very wet winter just soggy every weekend
And just unplayable, aren't they? I think
we need more investment in the grassroots, because apart from anything else, in 20 years' time we're going to need people who've played football at junior level upwards who want to come and play at Wembley. You shouldn't take it for granted that football will have this endless conveyor belt of talent in 20 years' time. We have to give them something to play on. And
of course the other side of it would be taking England on the road a bit more, which proved very popular last time round when Wembley was being redeveloped, didn't it?
I still think that when you've got a big World Cup qualifier, I'm thinking England v Poland, not 1973 and Jan Tomaszewski and the Clown.
I remember that one.
But I'm thinking more about 2000 and what year was it? 2013, wasn't it, when Wayne Rooney played in his headband here against Poland. That was a must-win game, 90,000 sellout, or as near as 90,000. I think you've still got to play the big games at Wembley. There's no reason at all why you can't take England on the road to Old Trafford, St James's Park, Elland Road, as they're doing this summer. Maybe the Etihad, maybe Anfield. Why not? Why bring tens of thousands of fans to a place where there's, let's face it, Jez, not much parking around here, is there?
No.
Everyone's forced to come on public transport whether they like it or not, whether there's a last train home or not. So, take it on the road, but save the big, attractive, must-win, guaranteed sell-out fixtures for
like
Wembley.
It used to be, yeah. Now, moving on, England, one of England's great players, captain for many years, Steven Gerrard. The Rangers job has come up now. Sunday Times got a lovely piece here. They've got Graham Souness, who obviously knows what it's all about going into that job. Pretty well warning Stevie G that the pressure is on from day one. You have to. You can't even ease up there. It's a huge job. Is that a good job for Steven Gerrard to get on the road to coaching management?
It's a good job for Steven Gerrard if he makes as good a fist of it as Graham Souness did in the 1980s. I remember Graham Souness joining Rangers in, was it 1986?
86,
I think. And becoming, turning Rangers very much into the force, in the old firm duopoly. I do wonder what Steven Gerrard made of the Rangers losing 5-0 at the weekend at Celtic Park.
That would have been good, wouldn't it?
And thinking, well, hang on, I wonder if I kept the receipt for that job application. But look, it's a great job for Gerrard if he makes a good fist of it. I'm afraid there's no alternative at Rangers. Coming second to Celtic every season ain't going to cut the mustard.
Now we're talking about the Tottenham looking to seal the place in the top four. We won't know until later tonight. But it's the bottom end of the table. Looks like it's going to go to the wire, isn't it?
Wow,
Southampton and Palace pulled off a couple of great results at the weekend, and West Brom as well. Just tell us a little bit about Big Dave, as they call him. What the job he's done there.
Big Darren Moore. He's done a fantastic job with West Brom. I wonder if there are people at the Hawthorns now who were thinking, wow, why didn't we appoint this bloke just a few weeks earlier? I have to say, and I'm not being wise after the event or blessed with 20/20 hindsight here, but I never thought that Pardew was the right man for the job at the time they brought him in, because you're going from Tony Pulis's pragmatic, clean sheet first football, as I call it, to Pardew's more expansive sort of version of the game.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's easy to make that transformation in mid-season. So I wasn't surprised, I'm afraid, that Pardew struggled. I fear that West Brom have left their sort of revival too late. I fear they're going down. They've got too much ground to make up, and they only need one result to go against them at Swansea, don't they, for that to happen. Southampton have given themselves a chance now, because a week tomorrow night they go to Swansea,
which is now the big one, isn't it?
The proverbial 6-pointer. You would think, well, if Swansea win that, I think they'll be safe. If Saints win it, wow, it becomes interesting. It becomes very interesting. Drags not only Swansea right into it, Huddersfield's last 3 games are Manchester City away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home. And Arsenal at home. Arsenal haven't got a point away from home in the calendar year 2018. But it might be Arsene Wenger's last game in charge of them. So, wow, exactly.
And West Ham aren't safe.
And West Ham have got Leicester away this weekend. And you have to say, if West Ham don't come away from the King Power with something there, Man United at home, Everton at home as their last 2 games. Oh my goodness!
Squeaky bum time.
Every time you think that David Moyes is safe and has steered them to safety, they seem to find a way of getting themselves back into trouble. So West Ham aren't safe either.
Now, one final thing we need to talk about: the Footballer of the Year. It's going to be voting closes tonight. Tomorrow morning, Tuesday, is the announcement. It's obviously a 2-horse race, I think, isn't it? Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne.
Yep.
What would you say the relative merits are? Are you a man who likes to see the winner come from the championship-winning team, or the player that gets you off your seat most?
I'm very mindful that in 1999, the year that Man United won the treble, that David Ginola of Tottenham was Footballer of the Year. And as brilliant as Ginola was that season, no question, it just seemed a bit odd that the winner of the Football of the Year didn't come from the team that won the treble.
I think the vote was split, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I think it was split several ways, wasn't it?
Whereas City is probably not quite as much of that, though, is it? No. It probably is about De Bruyne and whether you look at the long-term, season-long influence he's had, or the spectacular nature of Salah's goals and what he's done in his first season back, which is quite spectacular.
I have to say that for Salah to score, 42 goals in his first season at Liverpool is absolutely sensational. As we speak now, Liverpool haven't won anything. Hopefully they'll go on and win the European Cup, the Champions League. But I also have to say that when Manchester City won 6-0 at Watford in September in the rain, that was the best away performance I'd seen from a visiting team at Vicarage Road, certainly in 30 years, since the Barnes, Beardsley, Aldridge Liverpool team of 1987-88. And the kingpin of that team was De Bruyne. His absolutely inch-perfect passing, fizzed it across the turf. His set-piece delivery was terrific.
He's a proper all-rounder, isn't he?
Proper all-rounder, and I'm delighted for Mo Salah. I'm delighted for Salah that he won the PFA Footballer of the Year vote. No problem with that, but part of me thinks it would be wrong if De Bruyne finished such a spectacularly good season empty-handed. When Man City have already won the League Cup here, of course, and won the Premier League by a distance. So I've got no complaints if Salah wins the Football Writers' vote, but in many ways I'd like it to be De Bruyne, because I think it'd be right if the prizes were split.
And just one final point while we're here, the team sheets have just arrived. You've probably seen them.
You probably saw, yeah.
And the management for Tottenham is Maurizio Pochettino. Is that just a little question mark arose last week with his comments, and he repeated them again? Do you think he's thinking beyond here already, or do you think this it's a little bit of gamesmanship at this time of the year?
Well, he'll be thinking beyond Wembley, because of course in August Tottenham move into their maybe September if the cleaners need a bit of extra time. But I can't believe that Pochettino will not stick around to see Tottenham into their new home. They're going to qualify for the Champions League again. I think 7 points required from the last 4 games. Spurs will win a couple of games out of the last 4, no problem. I can't believe that Pochettino won't be around to usher Tottenham into their new home at White Hart Lane. they do need to win a trophy sooner rather than later, because let's face it, there might be a job going at Real Madrid this summer, and he's going to be on, whether Spurs fans like it or not, Pochettino is going to be on the hit list, the short list for the very top jobs in Europe, because they'll look at what he's done at Tottenham and like it. I think he'll be at Tottenham next season, but I think Tottenham need to start winning trophies like next season. Otherwise, I think it will be thank you and adios.
Adios. Great stuff. Mike Walters, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And watch this space.